The working class have lost sight of the fact, or just don't understand, that we wealthy are fully in charge. We own Congress. We own the White House. We wealthy people are running the country to our benefit. And to not understand that is just putting your head in the sand. That's what I'm afraid has happened. Hi, my name is Stephen Prince, and I'm a Patriotic Millionaire. Hello?
Hey.
I have guests.
Hey.
100% of my net worth, I would write it to the U.S. government if it would solve the problem. And my children, who will all become millionaires when I die, then they would lose all of that. Mm-hmm. I think that's too bad. We had this peace commission. We go to Saratoga to the horse races every year. Love Saratoga. There's not a brush stroke on that artwork. So the whole thing is painted by dribbling paint on the piece and then moving it around like this so the paint runs, and he paints the Statue of Liberty. And as I've told you before, I'm kind of an American fanatic. I love this country at a very, very deep level. And the Statue of Liberty to me is a great representation of what this country is all about and should be all about. This is scary. Anybody that reads this and doesn't understand, this is precisely what bothers me with my country, because my class, we wealthy people, are the ones that are not only contributing to this, but supporting this mindset, and all for our own short-term, our own life's gain. I mean, we're all going to die. So why would we want to do those kinds of things to our fellow man just so we can achieve more power or more money or more houses? Why would we want to do that when we're still going to die? I just think that goodness should win out. I'm not naive enough to think that it always will, but it should win out. Where was it? Oh, yeah, there it is.
I see the art of the deal down here. Oh.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I mean, the fact, if I were ever going to write a book, I would like to write it myself. I just don't, and he's never written any of these things himself. He's always had ghostwriters that have written everything for him. His books, I think, are kind of a joke. The guy doesn't read. He has no desire to know detail. He's just not a deep dive guy. He's an emotional, seat of the pants decision maker, and that is not the way you run a country. I also don't think it's the way you write a book either, but that's neither here nor there. So here's where the pretty magic is done. This is where we actually print the cards. We're what is known as a surface printing company, which means we literally print on top of an existing pre-manufactured plastic card. The cards already have the magnetic stripes on them, and it's just a card that's manufactured to the same specifications of your standard Visa or MasterCard material. So you can see the card had no ink on it before, and now it's a fully printed product. And when it started at the other end of this press, it was only white on both sides. When faced with this question about being a good business decision to pay people a living wage, it all goes back, I think, to what Henry Ford said 100 years ago, and that is he wants his people to be able to make enough money to buy his cars. That's a good, sound business decision, and I can get that. If you pay money to the people who actually spend it, then they're going to lift the economy. If we lifted the wages across the country, if we took our average wage, pick any number, $1 an hour, $5 an hour, whatever that number is, and we lift wages up, it is unequivocally going to go into consumption. And consumption represents 66% of the U.S. economy. So would we be better off putting billions of extra dollars in the hands of the people who are going to go to JCPenney's, who's struggling, or to Walmart, who's not, or to General Motors and buy another car? Would we be better putting it in their pockets, or would we be better off putting it in the pockets of people like me, who already have plenty of money, who I own everything that I want? I'm not going to go spend the money on consumables because I've already consumed all that I want. Why not put the money in the pockets of those who will spend it? It's just, to me, a good business decision. Hey Ruth, how you doing? Great.
Ruth is one of my #1 employees. Been with me for what, 8 or 10 years?
Oh, no.
It's been a while. Ruth is she's what, 24 now?
25.
25 years old and works 4 or 5 days a week, right?
I work every day.
Yeah, she works every day. Can I tell them how old you are?
Yeah.
She's 94.
I'm 95.
95, sorry. 95, and works every day. Most amazing employee we have, bar none. Well, you know, this whole discussion about taxes over the year has always been a shiny object discussion, in my opinion. What they do is they'll hold up this shiny object in front of you, and it talks about how it's going to grow jobs, how it'll improve the economy, and that the country's going to do a lot better. And oh, by the way, while that's happening, then they'll pay more taxes. But the truth of the matter is they've got another object behind their back, which is really what the object is that they're focused on, and that is keeping more of their money. Do you really think the Kochs honestly care about whether or not the economy does better for everybody else? They don't care about that. They care about figuring out a construct that will allow them to keep more of their money. And it all comes back down to that single term, and that's greed. That's all there is to it. So you tell me, where is the money going in this country? It's going to we rich people, and we least need it. Hey Red, how you doing, buddy? Ashley? Jorge? Good. So what I tell people typically when we're doing these tours is that in there in the press room we make the cards pretty, but out here's where we actually make them work. In other words, this is where we encode the data on the magnetic stripe so that the cards will function in the retail environment where they're going to ultimately be used. One thing that I'm particularly proud of, because it's a very expensive thing for us to do, but our building is completely 100% heated and cooled year-round with geothermal systems. So what we did when we built the building, we drilled 33 300-foot holes that are under our parking lot. And so we exchanged the warm variance in the ground temperature in the wintertime and put that warm air into the building. And in the summertime, we switch that process. We take the hot air in the building, put it into the ground, and bring out cold air to cool the building. It's a fairly significant savings in utilities, but obviously I think it's the right thing to do from an ecological perspective.
My goal is when I retire, I'm going to learn how to cook. I'm going to learn how to cook. I'm going to learn how to play the piano, and I'm going to learn how to speak Spanish. Those are my 3 goals when I retire. Doors were opened, opportunities were presented that I probably wouldn't have been presented, or the doors would not have opened as easily had I not been a white guy. And the thing that amazes me is the white guys that just don't want to recognize that. I'm not saying that we need to be handicapped in any other way, cut one of our legs off or only let us get 2 years of college so we can be fairly handicapped. I'm just saying, let's be aware of that. Let's be appreciative of the fact that that is the case. And then when we do reach plateaus, like the plateau that I'm at, then we'll feel some degree of responsibility to give back, to help others. I mean, people that are naive enough to not realize that this country was built on immigration and everybody was not always white. Everybody were not European white guys, that people of color live out and they exist out there, and they have as much right to the same opportunities as anybody does. Look, I read everything Ayn Rand ever wrote, but I never subscribed to all of her philosophies, and that is government is all bad, that we need to get rid of all government, because even those people who say that we should have small government, in fact, some of them say we should have no government, they don't really believe that. They really believe that they don't want the part of government that does the things for our citizens that they don't want to have taken care of. They don't want universal health care. They don't want people a mother that has multiple children, for her to have health care for her kids, or even food for her kids, or education. Everybody needs to be taken care of. In this society, I am in the healthcare center of the United States of America. Nashville is where managed healthcare and hospital management ownership is the core. But even we don't want to deliver healthcare to everyone, and I think it's a travesty. Everybody in this country, if not the world, but certainly this country, deserves healthcare. You don't need to have to make a decision whether you're going to eat or not or are you going to go to the doctor? If you're sick, you should be able to go to the doctor and receive health care as opposed to buying a loaf of bread and some bologna. You shouldn't have to make that decision. But a lot of people in this country do, and it's just wrong. It's just wrong. It doesn't need to be this way. Can I answer your question?
Yes, and more.
And we are headed down to see, or attempt to see, someone at Senator Lamar Alexander's office. Senator Alexander is one of the two senators that represent, one of the two Republican senators, I might add, that represent the state of Tennessee and Washington, D.C. Senator Alexander's been around the political circle of Tennessee for all of his adult life. In fact, to be quite honest with you, I don't think he's ever had a regular job. I have attempted to see Senator Alexander in Washington, D.C. on at least 2 occasions and have never been able to get him to meet with me. We have met with a couple of his staffers on a few occasions, but Senator Alexander's always been too busy with other things to meet with me. I suspect that there's something connected to the fact that I have an opposing view to his political position on a lot of things, but the one thing that I would like to talk with him today about is the minimum wage. I know I can get into that spot. I just wonder if there's another one that's a little bigger. This guy did a great job of parking. Here we are in the elevator, going up to see somebody that doesn't want to see us. It's not always easy being me. Not it. Let me ask this guy. Can you tell me where Senator Alexander's office is?
It's right across the hall, first door on your right.
Okay, thanks a lot. Oh well, no video. All he was doing was meeting with me. That's all he was doing. All I felt like he was doing was just fulfilling his obligation to meet with a constituent. And that's all. I felt I had no feeling of understanding or agreement or empathy whatsoever. You know, it's hard for me to believe though. I mean, I would say this, right? I don't see how anybody can see it differently. I don't see how anybody could feel differently about the minimum wage law than the way I feel, because the position that I have on it, I think is irrefutable. And that is that there are a lot of employers who would take advantage of unsophisticated workers and pay them as little as they possibly could. I don't see how anybody can fight that argument. I don't know what counter they could offer that would make that issue go away. And he offered nothing. All of my wealthy friends think I'm crazy. I think they're crazy. I think they're the ones that are missing the boat. And it just amazes me that they don't understand how short-sighted their approach to running our country is, and it will not last. We cannot continue to run this country the way we are for long. It may last our lifetimes, but that's pretty selfish, isn't it? That we don't concern ourselves more with our children and probably more importantly, our grandchildren. That's a pretty selfish, short-sighted view, and I don't think it's really the American way.